I have them so close together. I'm gonna go Gonzaga by the slimmest of margins, and I think my reasoning for that is both teams lose, and I'm gonna say they lose their best player from last year. Mahaney was great, but Logan Johnson was the best player on St. Mary's last year. Obviously, Gonzaga loses Drew Timme. They also lose Strother. Kyle Bowen wasn't the second best player on St. Mary's. So, but I feel more confident about the pieces that have come in to replace what Gonzaga has lost than I do St. Mary's. Not that I don't think St. Mary's replacement pieces or the players that are Joshua Jefferson, Mark Julionis are going to be great. They're going to be great. But if there's a question mark for St. Mary's, that's it. The floor for guys like EK, if he stays healthy, Steele Venters as a shooter on the wing, to me is more secure for Gonzaga. So I think they end up tying, but I can't really say that. So I'm going to say Gonzaga probably wins out. They're probably going to be a seed line or two higher than St. Mary's. It's not going to be a far drop between the two of them, but I'm going to take the ceiling of Gonzaga over St. Mary's.
Andy.
All right, I'll go Gonzaga too. I think here's my reasoning for it. Both teams are considerably better than everybody else in the league, but what it's going to come down to, if there is a difference, because I'm assuming they're going to split, is who's going to lose to somebody else. And obviously we saw Gonzaga look more beatable. Obviously they did get beat. They got beat by LMU for the first time in Spokane since 1991. But to me, I think St. Mary's, in part stylistically, because they play that slower offense, I think they're a little bit more prone to potentially getting upset by teams like San Francisco and Santa Clara and LMU. And I think talent-wise, they're basically equal. I agree with Connor on that, but I think there's just a slightly higher likelihood that St. Mary's drops the game to a team that's not quite as good as them than Gonzaga. Gonzaga's bench is absolutely a concern. They're probably only going to have one player coming off the bench who has ever played Division I basketball before. I expect that to be Ben Gregg, but everybody else hasn't played at that level. But Mark Few also doesn't really play his bench very much. So I think being overly concerned about bench depth for a coach who ranks like in the 330s in terms of bench minutes isn't something that I'm as concerned about. Certainly you'll need to see a leap from Hickman like Connor talked about, but I think that there's a slightly better chance that St. Mary's drops the game they shouldn't than Gonzaga. But there's no way in my mind that this standings aren't within a game of each other between these two teams.
Pretty close to both of you guys. I've already been on a few programs predicting a co-championship. It's really hard not to, and I know, Connor, you were avoiding that. But, I mean, it's just logical. Last year we saw something interesting happen because they both lost to LMU, but they did split on each other's home floor. So no matter how you slice it, they still shared the championship. Of course, St. Mary's got the 1 seed, and then Gonzaga blew them out of the Orleans Arena in the championship game. That, was a big letdown of if you wanted to see a close game. But I agree stylistically, Gonzaga's got another gear they can go to offensively, as they always have. And Gonzaga plays a national schedule. So between the Maui Invitational, a bunch of marquee games, I know UConn's out there and others, they're going to pick up some big national wins along the way before we get to league play. And so just from a where they finish standpoint, this will probably be exactly where it gets published. It's about to be finished up on my end, but I have Gonzaga 13th nationally and St. Mary's 16th. So again, really close. Those are both 4 seeds in the bracket. But Gonzaga just a notch above. And I agree as well. Like if one of them is going to lose to anybody else in the league, St. Mary's to a degree, just from the athleticism standpoint, if they go cold, they can make up for it usually with defense. But, we saw them lose a couple early games last year to Colorado State, New Mexico at home. You would like to think Santa Clara, San Francisco, Loyola Marymount are on that level. I'm not going to predict that. I think they probably just both lose one, but we'll see how it shakes out, and that's what makes it fun.